Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We have with us today Amy Stewart, who is our Acacia EAP Relationship Manager, and Amy is going to talk us through our new EAP for the diocese.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angela. And thank you everyone for joining me today. So I'll start by introducing myself. So hi there, I'm Amy, and I'm a workplace wellbeing consultant for Acacia. So super excited today to present an awareness session on Acacia's EAP program. So lots to cover today. I will be sharing my Canvas slides and we'll chat for around 20-25 minutes. And of course, at the end, there is time for questions. So if anyone has any, do encourage that you take yourself off mute at the end and I can answer those for you. Alternatively, you can pop them in the chat. I just probably won't see them towards the end of the conversation. Now, a couple of housekeepings before I get started. First one being that I myself am not a counsellor or a psychologist. As an account manager for Acacia, I do know a lot about the EAP program, but I do like to give that disclaimer. Now, secondly, everyone is in a different place in their own mental health and well-being. So if there's anything that I talk about today or bring up that you might resonate with, or it might bring up something within you, please know that it is totally okay to step out of the call, take a break. I'm not offended if you have to leave. I encourage everyone to just check in with themselves to make sure, that they are okay. And also we are a 24/7 service. So if you need to access some urgent support, that is definitely available to you. So that's pretty much it for my housekeeping. So we'll jump right into my presentation slides. All right. Anytime there's any tech difficulties, please sing out and let me know. Can everyone see my screen okay? Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. Now, for some of you, you might be like, I understand what an EAP program is, and it's totally okay if you're watching this today, even if you're watching the recording back at a later date, and you're not really sure what an EAP is. That's really what I'm here to do today to explain. So EAP stands for Employee Assistance Program. Now, this is access to free and confidential counselling and coaching. It is short-term solutions focused. So what that means is it's not something necessarily that you would attend for once a fortnight over a year's time period. There is a set amount of sessions that you're able to access, but what it does is it gives you that great opportunity to chat with a mental health professional, to talk about what's going on in your life, or any challenges you might be navigating in a zone that is judgment-free and very much about listening, but providing really great practical supports and strategies to help you work through that situation. You might be thinking, is this just workplace related? No, you can use it for workplace and personal related concerns. And the service is free and confidential. And on the next slide, I'm going to touch on the confidentiality piece because I like to acknowledge that, this is offered through your workplace. However, please be assured that Acacia are completely third-party, independent provider of that counselling service. Therefore, there would be no way that your workplace would know that you've accessed this service. The only way that they would know is if you were to have a conversation with your boss or your manager and mention that you were using the EAP. We are bound by the Privacy Act, so similar to the doctors. So to breach confidentiality means losing our license as a provider. So this is something we take really seriously. Now, for transparency, there is reporting data provided back to the organisation, but it is anonymous and de-identified. Now, these reports come out every quarter and annually, just to provide some information around why people are seeking support. This might look like, on a report, if it said something like 6 new cases of workplace bullying came in for a quarter, then of course an organisation is going to look at that and go, okay, something's going on for our people, what can we do to help? But again, as it's anonymous and de-identified, there are never any names listed on a report. Who are Acacia? So just a little bit about us. So Acacia Connection is an industry leader in providing mental health and wellbeing services. Now, we support all over Australia, New Zealand, and internationally. And like I mentioned before, we're a 24/7 service. So it doesn't matter if it's a weekend, public holiday, it could be 3 a.m. in the morning. Please know that we are here to support you. We aren't just a standard Monday to Friday 9 to 5 business. Anytime you need some support, this is available to you. Now, we've got a range of professionals on our team who can assist you with that mental health counselling, and that is everyone from psychologists, counsellors, and mental health accredited social workers. In order for these professionals to come and work at Acacia and support our clients and their employees, they need to have a minimum of 5 years practical experience working with clients. And in fact, when we collate the data, the average years of experience per clinician for Acacia is around 11 plus years. So highly experienced mental health professionals who can really look after you and no matter what you're going through. Now, this slide here is probably one of the most important ones of today's chat, and that's what's actually available to you under the program. Now, if you did need to access some counselling support, you have access to 4 sessions to chat that through with a clinician. Now, it's not only yourself that can access this. If your immediate family members, so your partner or your child perhaps, are going through some tough times and they would like to access some mental health counselling, they can also tap into this service as well, which is fantastic. Now, it's not just for one presenting concern per year, it's for 2. So say, for example, a presenting concern might look like I'm accessing support because I'm navigating some relationship challenges. Another presenting concern could be, I've just got a lot on my plate at the moment, I'm feeling really burnt out. So they're 2 separate concerns, but if you wanted to, you could access up to 4 sessions to chat that through with one of our clinicians. On top of that, we've got our holistic services, which are also really important because when you think about it, when our finances aren't going great or we have got some health related stuff going on, or we've got legal troubles, all of those things can really negatively contribute to our mental health. So it's nice to be able to receive some education in these different areas that is unique to those particular experts that offer it. So I'll explain a little bit more about financial coaching. So this is not only looking at your personal budget, you know, with the rising cost of living and thinking, okay, is there anything I could be doing differently? It might be you're navigating some debt. You could be saving for a first home deposit or think about transitioning to retirement. There's also other things that you could use it for, just understanding more about money in terms of different life circumstances. So in a family household income, one of the incomes might change. Someone's had to drop down to part-time work, and it's about navigating those changes, the money changes that pop up in our life from time to time. So it's nice to be able to have a 1-hour session with a financial coach to be able to talk that through, and of course then provide you with some excellent strategies on how you can best manage your money. Dietitian support's another super important one. So perhaps you've been diagnosed with a health condition, and as we know, when we go to the doctors, sometimes we don't get a lot of time to chat through that side of things. So if you wanted a full hour to chat with one of our dietitians, it gives you a really great opportunity to learn more about, the different foods and how they can nourish your body. It could even be things like maybe might have some gut health or some IBS, or even have got some sports related goals, like you're training for a marathon and you just want to learn how to support your body through that goal. So it's another great service that, as we know, how we feel in our bodies is really important. It affects the way we show up in terms of our energy levels. So it can be another great thing that if you're interested in learning more, that you can access. And then, of course, if you've got legal concerns going on, then it's really nice to be able to speak to a legal consultant to get some information about, okay, where do I go from here? What are my options? So it is like the step before getting legal advice, but again, it's another great avenue to access should you need it. And in terms of the entitlement for that, is 1 session each year that you could access for those holistic supports, and remembering not only yourself, but your immediate family should they need them. I understand this is a lot of information I'm giving today. So at any time, if you forget what's available, where you're up to in your entitlement, please feel free to reach out to us. You can contact us on our website or our 1300 number, and we can remind you what's available. But lots of great services there for you to tap into. And look, pictured here on the slide is just some of the reasons why people might reach out and engage in some mental health counselling. It doesn't cover everything, but it can give us a good starter point. So perhaps you might be going through some troubles in your relationship, or you're navigating family life. Maybe you're looking at your calendar in terms of your social commitments, your family life, and your work commitments, and you're just feeling really stressed out. What about if there's something that's keeping you awake at night? So it's changing your sleeping habits. Or perhaps yourself or a loved one is struggling with addiction. So again, it doesn't cover everything, but can give you some ideas of why it might be useful to seek support. And one of the things at the EAP we really try to get across is it doesn't matter how big or small your concern is. Our mental health professionals are trained to really be a great safe space for you to get whatever's on your chest out and chat about it. And then, of course, be provided with some great tools and strategies to help you navigate it. Now, one thing that's really important that we try to encourage is building our self-awareness muscle. So it's really important that we actually take the time to reflect within and go, okay, how am I going in my own mental health and well-being? Because I know for a lot of us, and I myself am guilty of this too, is I, look after other people a lot, or I want to, help my friends, my family, my partner. But it's really important that I actually take the time to recharge and check in on myself, because if I'm constantly outputting to other people, then I become burnt out. So these are just some of the signs that you might like to just notice within yourself to keep in the back of your mind to make sure that you are looking after your mental health. So if you were perhaps to be struggling, these are some of the ways that this might present itself. So it could be that you notice some of your habits have changed. So it could be your sleeping habits, maybe some activities that you used to do, such as hobbies, going to the gym, self-care, anything like that, that normally, lights you up and you get a lot of enjoyment out of. You've noticed that you haven't been wanting to participate in these activities. So that's just one sign. Another thing could be that you've picked up some not so healthy coping habits. So maybe having, a few too many glasses of wine, a couple times a week. Or one thing that I like to mention to people, and often I get a few laughs or that they roll their eyes at me, but just thinking about our social media consumption or watching Netflix or binge watching TV shows. I think when we can take a step back and think, is this a healthy habit in my life? Am I just using this for entertainment, or am I using this to perhaps escape from something that's going on in my life? So I always like to encourage people to have a think about that, because it's something that we can very easily, get addicted to. But just keeping in mind, is it a healthy balance in my life, or am I, trying to distract myself from something bigger that's going on in my life? So I always like to mention that. Another thing could be I'm a bit more snappy with my loved ones, and that's normally not like me. Or you've just noticed some ups and downs in your moods. And look, acknowledging that these are all really normal and human things to sometimes lean upon or to notice within ourselves when we are going through a tough time. But the more we can build that self-awareness muscle, it means the sooner we can reach out for support and lean on the support of friends or family, or perhaps an EAP counsellor to help you to navigate that situation, so that you can look after yourself and your mental health. Now, how do you make an appointment? There's a couple of different ways you can do this. The first one being jumping on our website. It's acaciaconnection.com, and you can chat live with our appointments team and book in for an appointment. Now, if you'd prefer, you can give us a call on our 1300 number. It's displayed on the screen there. It is a 24/7 line, so anytime you need support, please know that it is available. You can also text us on our SMS line as displayed on the screen too. This SMS line isn't necessarily for urgent support, but if you wanted to arrange an appointment through the text service, you could do it that way. But of course, we encourage that if you are wanting to chat to someone more urgently, the 1300 number being a 24/7 service is the way to go. Now, just giving you a bit more information on the 24/7 service as well too. So again, anytime you need support, give us a call on that number. If we have noticed that you're in a high level of emotional distress when you're ringing through to that number, please know that your call is escalated. We can connect you with a mental health professional in as little as 15 minutes. You won't be waiting hours, a day or a week to get an appointment. We do definitely have the ability to escalate and triage that urgent support for you or your family members. Super important that I just get that across, and we never want you to hesitate on reaching out for support because you think, oh, it's not business hours. Definitely not the case. Anytime you need support, please give us a call. Now on the screen, you'll also notice our connect lines. So these connect lines remove the pressure of self-disclosing the reason for access and align you with an EAP professional who has lived experience or a high level of experience in supporting your needs. And our intake appointments teams are also extensively trained with cultural sensitivity and use supportive language, so everyone feels safe and accepted. Now on the left side of the screen, you'll notice that giant QR code. If you hover your mobile phone over that, the camera part, it'll take you to a link to sign up to our mailing list. So each month, Acacia sends out an email, and it is an article on mental health. I always learn something new from the tip sheets. Even working for an EAP for a couple of years, I think I know a lot, but there's always something new that I didn't realize was a topic. And then I go, oh, okay, yeah, I've experienced that. I didn't know that was, a particular term, a psychological term. And I just think they're great pieces of information that might not necessarily apply to you, but it's always interesting to learn about different things. And so if you want to receive that in your inbox, that is the QR code to sign up for that. And we'll have this video recorded. So if I skip too fast on that slide, you can go back and watch it and hover your phone over the QR code. Now here on the screen is just giving you some information around, okay, this sounds great. I'd like to book an appointment. What sort of appointment types can I have? So we've got telehealth services, which we're all becoming a lot more familiar with and a lot more comfortable with, and you can have your EAP through those services. We do have face-to-face. I'll touch on that in a second, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about the telehealth. So we can do a video call like we're doing now. It's a great way to connect with a clinician because you don't have to leave your house. You can open up your laptop or your camera phone and still chat with someone. It'll just be on a video call. If you prefer telephone consultation, that's definitely an option. And we even have live chat. So this is a secure messenger service, which you can have your session of support with your clinician. It's really great if you're not yet comfortable saying out loud what you're going through, but you'd still like to access some supports. So definitely another option. And then face-to-face, totally understand. Some people might feel more comfortable building a rapport with a clinician who is sitting across the room from them and they can see them in person. And if you would prefer that delivery method, it's definitely available. We'll do our best to match you in with someone who is either 20 minutes from your home or work location. Now, just understanding that with face-to-face, there might be a slightly longer wait time in getting in to see someone, whereas with your telehealth, we've got access to all of the clinicians that we have across all Australia. So you might just be able to be linked in with a professional a little bit sooner because we have more people to choose from with telehealth. But please know that all options are available, and we'll definitely let you know roughly, how long of a wait time that would be to get in to see someone. And of course, if you need urgent support, that is definitely available. Now, another great resource we have available to you is a really great members area of our website. So our online wellbeing portal, it's got all the articles that we send out each month. Over the past 11 years, we've got a lot of articles. So we host them on a section of our website. And if you go to our website, it's on the top banner, it'll say wellbeing portal. You click on that, then you enter your username and password as it's displayed on the screen there. If you want to jot that down, that might be a good idea, or come back to the video later. Lots of great articles, like I said, to read up on. We've done webinars in the past on different topics, so that might be something of interest to you to learn about. And we're always constantly updating the portal with any new resources that we provide out. So if you ever miss them on the mailing list, you will definitely find them on the portal. Now, last slide before we finish up with the presentation, and that is some frequently asked questions. So no doubt if you have questions during today's chat, that's so fine. I might be able to answer some of them now, and then if not, happy to talk about them afterwards. First one I'll address is the cancellation policy. Now, this is just something that we need to let people know about. If you do need to cancel or reschedule your appointment that you've booked in, we ask for 24 hours notice or more, so we can make that change. Now, unfortunately, if you give us less than 24 hours notice, it just means that that appointment that you would have had, it comes out of your entitlement. So you'll just no longer have that available to you. Totally understand things happen, life pops up, and sometimes other things take precedence and we might have to cancel on late notice. But just to give you that courtesy around what the cancellation policy looks like, that's why we do talk to it. We do send an SMS reminder about 48 hours prior saying, hey, your appointment's coming up, don't forget about me, or if you need to change anything, give us a call. So we do our best to communicate that with you in case you do need to make some changes. Changing professional. At any time, if you're linked in with a clinician and you walk away from it thinking, you know what, I just don't feel like that was a good match for me. I didn't gel with my clinician. That is so fine. We're more than happy to change clinicians for you, and we do encourage you to speak up. Also too, if there is anything, any feedback around the service, please share it with us. You know, we're always wanting to ensure we are offering the highest quality of care. That's something that's really important to us. So again, we do encourage you to speak up and let us know. Now, in terms of a session renewal, when I said the 4 sessions that were available to you, that's every single year. So say, for example, it's 1 year from the date of your first appointment. Now, if I was to give an example, pretend I come to work for you guys and I have my first session of support today, which is Friday, the 28th of July. I've got up until the 27th of July, 2024 to use my entitlement sessions, and then they reset. So again, if you've used up all your sessions, 1 year later from the date of your first appointment, it's back there available to you again. So really good to know. And again, if you forget where you're up to, just give us a call and we can remind you what's available. Likewise, if you've identified at the end of your EAP sessions with your counsellor that, hey, I might need some ongoing support, our clinicians have that duty of care to talk you through your options. So have you thought about getting a mental health plan from your GP or accessing other services? They will very much look after you and let you know, what are some other supports ongoing that you can use outside of the EAP program. And if you would like access to the clinical notes that were taken down in your time together, just please know you have full permission to request to release that information as well. And then special requests. So lastly, this is really important that I touch on. Some things might be, you know what, my first language isn't English and I'd like to be connected with a clinician who does speak my first language. So that's definitely possible. I might feel more comfortable chatting with a male or female clinician, or maybe the reason I'm seeking support, I'd love to be connected with someone who specializes in that particular concern. We've got a lot of clinicians who have different specialities. So we, again, always advise, speak up, let us know what you're looking for, because it means that we have the best opportunity to match you with someone who we feel would be most suitable to look after you. So that's really important that I let you guys know about, because we, of course, want you to have the best experience with EAP. So any information you can give us around why you're seeking support, again, just helps us to make sure we are matching you with the best professional. So that is it for the session today. I'm going to unshare my screen so you can see my face once again. And if you have any questions, go ahead, let me know. If you don't, that's okay. Or if you need to absorb all this information and come back with questions later, that's fine too. I'm just here to assist if you've got any at the moment.
Thank you, Amy. I have one question in regards to once you've finished your allocated number of sessions for the year, and if you still desire to have appointments, is it possible to see the clinician you've been seeing privately? Like, do some of them work outside of the Acacia arrangement? You can keep the same clinician?
It's possible. It would just depend on the clinician. So you could definitely, I always say, just give them an ask. You could say, hey, do you take on clients outside of EAP? And they might say, yeah, absolutely. Happy for you to come on my books. Every clinician's different. Some of them work strictly for EAP. Some of them do have their own private practices. But if you've built a great rapport with them, I always say it's worth asking. You never know. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. That was really clear and really really helpful. So thank you for that.
Awesome. No worries. Lovely.
No, that
And
was,
yeah,
thank you. That was very concise.
excellent. Thank you. And yeah, we're recording today's session. So anyone who couldn't make it today will be able to have a copy of the video. And if you guys ever want me to do any more of these sessions, I'm more than happy to. It's good to have like a refresher and a reminder every now and then. We can sometimes even forget about the holistic services like the financial coaching and the dietitian support. That's something when people think of EAP traditionally, they forget about. So just to remind people that, hey, it's not just the mental health counselling, it's some really other great services that we know impact our overall well-being.
Thank you, Amy. Well, we appreciate you giving up your time to speak with us today, and I might stop recording now so we can save this for future reference.
Beautiful. All righty.